What is up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another video. I'm a bit late to this, but we're going to be explaining and having a little bit of a deep dive into Chasca's kit and how she works. So, Chasca as a 5-star unit, she is Anemo DPS and she is a bow user. Surprise, surprise, we actually found out what her bow looked like during the Zilonin demo in the actual, animated part of her shooting a Saurian. She showcased and showed off her signature weapon, which looks really cool. Personally, I'm not a fan of it, but it's just nice to know that they showed it off before we actually had any crazy showcase from Hoyo in the 5.2 live stream. So within 5.2, we're going to have the Chasca unit, and she is going to be doing Anemo damage. Now, one thing that's really interesting and that we're going to make sure we get over and done with and speak about, she is a natlan character. She's going to have her Night Soul Blessing state, and so therefore as a Night Soul Blessing state, will she do just purely Anemo damage? No, she will not. She is the first character within natlan, as of my knowledge, and within the Genshin, ever in Genshin history, where they actually have transformative elements. So what I mean by that is she will have a Night Soul Blessing state which has 80 points, and it will deplete over time, very similar to Mulanni and Zilonin. Yes. Now, when you go into the tap, of her E-skill, it just does an instance of Anemo damage. When you hold it down, she will hover on a rifle and she will aim down sight. Her gun will be her jockey, and she will aim down at, say, like a group of Hilichos, for example, and there will be 4 of them. All 4 of them will be marked with Anemo, and when you let go and fire, you will shoot Anemo damage. However, if you have any element that is Pyro, Cryo, Hydro, or Electro on the team. Say, for example, you have Bennett, you have Furina, and you have Electro, let's say Fischl, for example. That means that if you have Bennett and you got Furina, the last bullet will be Pyro. You heard me. That means that the last 3 bullets of the 6 will be corresponding of the elements within your team. So that's really, really awesome. You might be wondering, well, how does this work, and what do you mean? This means that Chasca not only does Pyro, Hydro, Cryo, or Electro damage, she also does Anemo damage. She's pretty transformative as a DPS. She's very, very, very unique. This means that her teams don't do things similar to Wanderer whatsoever. Yes, this is good. This is good. Does she power creep Wanderer? Not necessarily, but does she add more flexibility? Yes, she does. She really does. The only thing she power creeps on Wanderer is this whole flow of flying and being mobile with exploration. RIP. Sorry, Wanderer, but she literally does what you do, but better. The reality is, though, Chasca is going to be a very, I'd say, fun to an extent when it comes to doing swirling and, big explosion of AoE with bolts. But when it comes to her elemental skill, she's going to be firing bolts of different elements. Yes, you heard me. Mainly the best team to run with her, in my personal opinion, as she's going to be scaling off of attack. She's going to need Bennett, Furina, and I'd chuck in Fischl for the extra damage from Oz, or you could do Zhangling if you want to. Now, when we go ahead and we talk about Chasca's ultimate, she's going to be doing something very similar to Tighnari. She will basically stand on her rifle and shoot a massive nuke of Anemo. Yes, just in the direction. And then she'll have small little bolts, which are the 6 bolts as per usual. The first 3 are going to be Anemo, and then the rest of them are going to be of the corresponding elements. Now, they don't do crazy damage, but you need to remember that these transformative elements, the transformative ones, the last 3, I mean, they're going to be really, really strong. This means that she's better running an attack percent goblet than an Anemo damage goblet. And you might be like, well, I can just chuck fires in him. Well, if I've just said that she's going to be doing more damage with transformative reactions and with the transformative elements, then there's no need to use Farazan, because shredding Anemo damage isn't going to help her do even more Anemo damage if she already does more damage with the other elements. That's really good, but then that also means that the teams that she's going to have focus more on the natlan characters. We had Zilonin, and she multi-shreds element and multi-buffs element. So Zilonin is going to work pretty decently with Chasca. We also know that we're going to need a shielder for Chasca, because as I said, she hovers in the air and flies around on her gun. That means she's going to need interruption resistance. Now you might say, well, we can use Zhongli, or we could use Layla if you have Layla, but we know that Citlali is going to be coming in at 5.3 and she's going to be a shielder according to certain people. And we also know that Mavwika, the Pirate Archon, is going to be releasing in 5.32. So that means that we're going to have to wait a little bit of time until we get our full Chasca team to having all the Night Soul ready and locked and loaded so we can shoot these bolts and do crazy transformative damage. Now, Chasca, I don't think she'll power creep Wanderer. I think she'll be very, a nice alternative. But I also do think she's going to be very, very, very early within the production of, having good teams. Later on in the update and later on in the natlan progression, when we get more characters, we'll have more teams to test. But I think she's going to be very viable. But as of right now, I don't think she's the best. I don't think she's crazy, but I think she's going to be interesting. But when it comes to Ororon as a 4-star unit, I think he'll work well with Chasca, in my personal opinion. Having electro damage, I think he'll work really well. And I do like the look of Ororon, personally. We'll just have to wait and see what she does. I'm going to skip her, but if you're going to summon for Chasca, then with all being said, I wish you all the best of luck.